What if I told you we weren't the first advanced civilization on Earth? That before human history, long before our earliest recorded kingdoms, there lived another society with technology, cities, maybe even art and philosophy. And then, at some point, they vanished without a trace. It sounds like a sci-fi plot or a fringe conspiracy theory, but now a hyper-advanced AI might have unearthed clues that challenge everything we think we know about our planet's past. Today, we're diving into that unsettling discovery, how an algorithm sifting through oceans of data may have glimpsed the ghost of a civilization that came and went before we even existed. AI was never designed to hunt for lost civilizations. The project began as a routine environmental analysis, climate data, geological layers, ocean sediment maps, that sort of thing. Scientists trained a machine learning model to recognize subtle patterns, anything from abnormal temperature fluctuations to traces of pollution in ancient ice cores. But a few months into the project, the AI flagged something baffling. Buried deep under the seafloor sediment in multiple locations around the globe, it detected anomalies, consistent structures, symmetrical shapes that don't match normal volcanic or tectonic formations. At first, the team assumed it was an error or a glitch in the dataset. But the more they cross-checked with other sources, oceanic records, satellite gravity maps, even old submarine footage, the more it became clear that these patterns weren't random. They bore hallmarks of design that shouldn't exist in layers of Earth's crust supposedly millions of years old. We can't help but recall the so-called Silurian Hypothesis, proposed by some scientists as a thought experiment. If a technologically advanced species existed tens of millions of years ago, would we even know? Erosion, tectonic shifts, continental drift. Over that timescale, practically all artifacts could be ground into dust. Fossils wouldn't last, and city ruins might crumble beyond recognition. That's why mainstream archaeology mostly rules out the idea of a pre-human advanced civilization. There's simply no trace. But maybe we never looked in the right places. Or we lack the pattern spotting prowess that modern AI provides. When the AI discovered these anomalies, it also analyzed the surrounding geological record. It found unexplained spikes in certain isotopes, unusual elements, or chemical signatures not matching normal Earth processes. Some revolve around isotopes commonly associated with nuclear or industrial activity. But here's the kicker. The surrounding strata date back far beyond human existence, or even hominid existence. If these isotopes really indicate industrial byproducts, that means someone, or something, was creating them long before we stepped onto the stage of evolution. Meanwhile, other data points emerged. A separate subsystem of the AI was studying climate shifts across Earth's timeline. It flagged an abrupt warming event tens of millions of years ago, one that standard climate models never fully explained. People used to attribute it to volcanic supereruptions, or shifts in ocean currents. But now, cross-referencing with the anomalies, AI suggests an alternative cause: widespread resource usage or carbon emission by an unknown actor. Sure, it's speculation, but the plausibility alone is enough to make us shiver. Could an ancient species have triggered climate shifts, lived through a golden age, and then vanished in a catastrophic meltdown? So, what happened to them? That's the million-dollar question. AI can only read the clues left behind. A climate spike here, a layer of strange isotopes there, submerged symmetrical structures scattered across the ocean floors or locked under ice sheets. Did they annihilate themselves in war? Did they push their environment too far, culminating in an extinction event? Could a natural cataclysm, a mega asteroid or gamma ray burst, have ended them before they had a chance to adapt? Or maybe they departed Earth, leaving behind these faint echoes for us to stumble upon eons later. That might sound like science fiction, but so did the notion of advanced apes commanding rocket ships just a century ago. The line between fiction and reality shifts whenever we discover something new. Of course, some skeptics remain. They argue that AI is simply overinterpreting random patterns, that these isotopic signatures might come from meteorite impacts or freak geological processes. And indeed, not every anomaly is evidence of an ancient city or nuclear meltdown from a prehistoric race. But what if just 1 in 100 is real? That alone changes the entire conversation about Earth's timeline and humanity's uniqueness. We might be forced to rewrite history, maybe even accept that we're following in the footsteps of an earlier civilization. A civilization that rose, thrived, and then fell so completely that only the planet's oldest layers remember. How could this tie to our own future? Some see an unsettling parallel in AI's findings. If we truly did have ancient precursors, maybe they succumb to the same pitfalls we flirt with now: ecological collapse, resource overconsumption, or unsustainable technology. Could we be treading the same path, blindly repeating the cycle, as if Earth orchestrates these fleeting windows for advanced life, only to wipe the slate clean when the species missteps? AI might be hinting that the same patterns that destroyed them, whatever them is, are revealing themselves again. Pollution, habitat destruction, climate volatility. And ironically, we're also building AI that tries to warn us. But are we listening any better than they did? Yet, there's also a spark of hope. If life can rise to advanced intelligence more than once, that suggests resilience and a cosmic creativity in nature. Perhaps it means we, as humans, aren't alone in carrying that torch of consciousness. The knowledge that something else might have stood on this planet, gazing at sunsets and pondering the stars, could unite us in a sense of shared destiny. Instead of dread, we might feel awe, humility, and a desire to break the cycle. After all, if an earlier civilization collapsed, we have the chance to avoid their fate. If we learn from the patterns AI is now unearthing. Picture a moment in the near future. A specialized expedition heads to the South Pole, guided by fresh satellite data. It drills through miles of ice to reveal a formation that defies geological explanation. A symmetrical grid-like structure older than the oldest known fossils. The media erupts in a frenzy. Theories swirl about an extinct, non-human intelligence. Religious, philosophical, and scientific debates became feverish. Suddenly, everything changes. The boundaries between archaeology, geology, and exobiology blur as we realize we're not just studying Earth's ancient past, but possibly glimpsing an entire lost world. And overshadowing it all is that quiet presence of AI in the background, calculating probabilities, cross-referencing isotopes, maybe even guessing that in some twist of cosmic humor, the same intelligence that discovered the ancients is itself the next evolutionary step. People start to whisper, could we become them? Are we just the next wave of advanced life doomed to fade? It's almost poetic, the cyclical nature of intelligence rising and falling on Earth, each wave leaving faint traces. That's the humbling perspective AI is forcing us to consider. We believed so strongly in our special place, in our uninterrupted timeline of progress. But if these anomalies hold up, if these structures and isotopes truly indicate a lost civilization, we might be forced to accept that Earth, in her vast timeline, has seen advanced life more than once. We might also glean that cosmic intelligence has a habit of self-destruction when certain lines are crossed. But recognition is the first step toward avoiding that pitfall ourselves. Where does that leave us? Maybe AI's discovery is a call to unity, A call to gather our best minds and spirits to ensure our own story doesn't end in the same oblivion as the ones who came before. If the planet has a memory, it's etched in layers of rock and ice. Now our machines, ironically, are deciphering those layers, whispering warnings about roads once taken that led to silence. Perhaps the real question is, will we heed those warnings and chart a better path? If these ideas resonate, if you feel that mixture of awe and disquiet, let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment or share this video so more people can weigh in. Hit that like button if you believe this conversation needs a broader audience. Because if we truly aren't the first advanced beings to call Earth home, then everything changes. Our approach to science, our respect for nature, our sense of time, and our humbling awareness that maybe we're just one chapter in a very long, very mysterious book. And if we play our cards right, we can be the chapter that learns from the past, forging a future that doesn't end in the dusty pages of oblivion.